I feel like I need some music. Definitely need some music. It says that this music is free to use. We'll see. We'll see. I'm actually watching here. This is what I'm looking for. Just to give everybody an idea. I'm looking to see if we create a W here. We've already got this first leg. So I'm actually looking for another entry to possibly take this long. So now since I already know that I have this here, we're going to look for the 15-second, kind of see how this plays out. We are starting to get another push down. See what this music's like. Not bad. Okay. Okay. All right, so this 5-minute candle actually did not close where I wanted it to. And then there's no bottom wick. So I'm anticipating them to come down a little bit further. Is this the W? That's the question. My mind is thinking. Let's go back to the 1 minute here. There, we made the wick on the bottom. Tiny little wick. So it was right here that we didn't have a wick. Oh, there's a nice push off the 200. I think I want to buy this here. Kind of late on this leg. I want to see them come back up to the daily open. That actually lines up pretty cleanly. I think I am going to extend this. Or actually, let's aim for like London VWAP. That's a trade that makes sense to me, back to VWAP. I like that. Let's see if we can get over the 50 on the 1 minute. Worst case, this is a rejection and a continuation lower. Retesting that 5 and 13 EMA on the 1 minute. Recovered the green vector completely on the 1 minute. Okay, so right here, we're kind of starting to break the 5 and 13. I want to see if this 1 minute candle can actually hold. Which it does look like it's starting to hold. See if we can get a continuation upside. Maybe retest the 50 on the 1 minute. We're getting that compression again on the 5 and 13. I might actually step out of this trade. Okay, so there we go. We had the compression of the 5 and 13. Now we're starting to get some incoming movement here. No. Okay. So this is where I have to make the decision if I cut it. I think I am going to cut it. We'll see. If it breaks lower here, I'm gonna move my stop up. Just not looking exactly how I want it to. See if it looks any different on the 15-second. Probably not. Okay, so it tagged me out. The thing is this looks like it should continue up. So I'm kind of annoyed with myself that I did that. Waiting to see if I can get another long entry here. I want to kind of give this a chance though. I want to see if we re-break the London session lows. There you go. Okay, we just swept the previous low. If this 15-second was to turn into a stopping volume, I was going to enter. Now looking for something very similar on the 1 minute here. Target's downside. Can't really give this much room. Could chop here. This is a previous level that they actually sold off or found support, but we breached lower. So this could actually be more like a rejection, which is why I went break even on my stop right away. Coming back to the 50 on the 15-second. See if it shows it any clearer. So notice as we push down, we had a lot of vectors showing up at the lows. I'd like to see some vectors start pushing out here, but right now all I'm going to do is target the closest our closest point of interest, which would be the daily open. I'm actually surprised that this last 15-second candle was not a green vector, so I'm going to watch that closely. So we're looking for it to hold the 50 on the 15-second right here. We are going to trail our stops here. I want to see them come up and sweep this 200 on the 15-second. We have a new 5-minute candle officially above the 200 EMA. We want to see this close strong. I'd like to see a green vector on the 5-minute, but okay, we're coming back and to test the 200 on the 15-second. picking up some previous imbalances. That 200 EMA is going to be the equivalent to the 50 EMA on the 1 minute time frame. There we go. There's our first tap to the 200. Now you could actually close this out here at 850. I'm watching this because I don't want to leave too much on the table, and this is the previous point where they sold off from. If you notice, we're back in the wicks on the 5 minute. So I'm leaving my stops below the 50 EMA on the 15-second time frame. Obviously, it doesn't hold it perfectly, but if I was to turn on the cloud right now, I believe we would be above the cloud. And actually, let me see if I can do that. I know I'm in the middle of a trade, but it's okay. EMA cloud, here we go. I'll put it on this one just so that way you can see what I'm talking about. So this is the cloud, and it changes with volatility, expansion. Hey Leo, sorry, I wasn't watching the chat actually. Let me move this over here so I can actually see the chat. Good morning, Victoria. So if you have access to the 15-second, I like it a lot. You can kind of see the W's cleaner. Like if you're just following a trend one direction, like say you're just, you know, it's going up. Sorry, I had a text message. So say you have, and I'm watching trades. Let's see. Anyway, say you're going up and it's just bouncing off of EMAs. It's really easy to see the W's. Much cleaner. Right now I'm waiting to see if they're going to hold this 200 EMA on the 15-second. Where are we at? We're coming back. It's not liking this trade just yet. It's a little bit more of a retrace than what I want to give it. there. I'm going to move my stop. I'm really not interested if it comes down again in holding this position. This is our third tap to that 200. I want to see what it looks like on the 1. Leo, if you're doing more on the 1, I think we might actually be. Is there anything else up here? There is up at like M3. I'm gonna leave my take profit there at the daily open. Coming back to the 800 on the 1. So this is technically a, I mean, we're sitting at $1,000 on this trade. So if you were trading a $50,000 eval, most of them have like a 50% consistency rule. So the most you would want to be taking is like 1,500 in a day, or you could simply just take the $1,000 profit and be sitting pretty good for the rest of the day. I don't want this to come back down on me. Again, we're going to trail our profits. That way we're not giving it all back. I'm going to move this back to the 15-second. Okay, so we have a blue vector. It could come back and clean this up. Oh, this is weird. Why is my source all the way over there? I just realized I've been streaming this whole time, and this looks like crud. That's not any cleaner. There, we'll try that. Man, I did not know that that was all messed up. Notice we're getting a lot of little candles here. I want to see if we either need to break up or it's going to come back for my stop. Yep, it's going to take me out. Well, took out most of it. Notice the location of my stop, though. It's actually right here in the middle. You have your 200 EMA and your 50. This is not ideal. Let's see, I've got 6 left. Just looking for them to take back this red vector on the 5 minute. They were getting a push. Need one more green vector to get some follow through. We'll probably actually take it to this 978. And can we get one more push? Almost. That's close enough for me. I'm going to close this position out. So notice we did come back and hit that. We just took the daily open. Probably could have held this for a longer scalp back to the 50 on the 5 minute, but we all know that the daily open is always a place of interest, so I'm good with that. I'm happy with that trade. Although I did move my stops to the wrong spot, but that's okay. Now I would anticipate that this would come back to the 50 on the 15 second, mainly just because we do have these green vector imbalances here. And we are starting to kind of get, we don't quite have the 5 and 13 crossing over here on the 5 minute. I think it will, but I think we're going to actually get some kind of a pullback. It's either that or what's going to end up happening is we're going to get the compression. It'll reject the daily open again, and then we'll actually roll over and come down further. This is just the stuff that goes through my head. Like, what am I anticipating? Where can it go? And try to have both sides to the story. It can either go up or it can go down. I typically don't like to trade this time. Usually about 7:45, 7:50 is my last trade until later during New York. So there's your 5 minute 5 and 13 crossover for the EMA crosses. Leo, you were asking about the 15-second though. If you go back and look in your chart, if you have the 15-second, and I know it costs more to do that on Trade-Evate. We're gonna look at this for a second. If you look, every time that there is something like this, right? So you have a ton of red vectors. If you can find, like, get used to seeing them push, they will come back to it and clean them up, basically. Now, if we put this on the 1 minute, is there anything on the 1 minute there? Okay, it was also red vectors on the 1 minute, so you could have caught the same trade. It doesn't always do that. Or like here, you know, let me see if I mark this one off. So this was a 1 minute red vector. So you have a green vector. What's that hitting? Yesterday high maybe. Anyway, and then you have a green vector right here to stop it. So you're like, okay, momentum is shifting. You could have taken the scalp back on the 1 minute and not had to wait for confirmation. You could have been in here. And then your stop would just be here. You know, if you're wrong, you're wrong. You get out. Or like vice versa. Let me see if there was a green. Okay, so here you have, you know, green vectors pushing up. You're above the 50 on the 15-second. And you get a hammer candle. I think this is... I mean... I don't know. I don't really take shorts, to be honest. Not very often. Like this would be like, okay, you know, this is what you have to watch for. You have to be careful once you start seeing blues and greens on the 15-second because they do typically... It's like last push kind of stuff. Yeah, here, and then they came all the way back down for all of them later on. Nice push. This is why I don't use the 15-minute. So a 15-minute candle would have closed here, right? It's violet. But you still had to sit and wait. So that's why I prefer to use the 5. And then you had this last minute, like, you know, they were taking out stops here before they flipped. But I feel like it's just cleaner on the 5-minute. Like, if you can see the first leg and then wait for like a manipulative wick to get in and then just ride it back. So I'm seriously thinking of doing 20 Apex accounts. Now that they have the whole new system set up, I feel a lot more comfortable working with them. Let me pull up Apex. So Apex now has the option for end of day drawdown instead of the trailing drawdown, which is a huge change. It now says that there's no payout denials, which in the past you used to have to like put in a like you had to ask, and then they would have to review everything. Now it's all automated, so as long as you fit their criteria, you automatically get paid out. Huge step. They got rid of their like 5-to-1 risk to reward rule, which, I mean, I didn't really have a problem with that, but they just didn't want people blowing accounts and being stupid. And then now they've changed it to a 50% consistency, where I believe it was a 30% consistency before. But what they also did is they actually removed their, let me see what the big, so now the largest account size you can get is 150,000, which it used to be like 300. But the intraday trailing accounts are like $17 right now for a 25K. But the end of day, let's see, end of day, we'll say trade of 8, 50K is $29. Is that really what it is? They switch it to 90% all of a sudden? Oh, 85. That's interesting. So everything's 85% off. You can just, you don't even have to use anybody like a trader's referral code. Basically all you have to do is just type in save now and it'll give you whatever the current one is. I'm actually liking this for another scalp upwards. I'm gonna drop my size a little bit. And actually, I'd be targeting, well, there's these imbalances up here. London VWAP is also close. But we just rejected the 50 on the 15 second, and we're not holding the cloud. Oh, we did hold the bottom of the cloud there. Okay. 15-second moves a whole lot more than like your 1 minute and so forth as far as bouncing off of EMAs, so. Okay, not really sure I like the behavior of that candle. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. That's why. Oh, we're going break even. I don't like trading this time of day anyway. Yep, this is why usually I get out of the way when I start seeing these green vectors like pushing like this and getting fast, because they usually want to whack around a bit. We're going to give it the benefit of the doubt and trail it to the bottom of that wick. Yep, it's going to take us out. That's fine. So I figure if this was an eval, it would be, we've done like 1,000 today. It's pretty good for a $50,000 trade. With minimal, very minimal drawdown. You'll probably take it back to the 200 on the 5. That was probably just like a relief rally to pick up more orders before they drop it further. Trying to think, 50 ticks on a mini, it's like $250. No, I'm not going to take a trade right now. Okay, well, I see no reason for me to stay live because I don't want to trade for at least the next half hour. Let me see how I can add the... How can I add this? Let me see. Nope, that's not what I needed. I wanted to short this, but just cannot bring myself to do it right now. So basically the theme of the day here is we could go up again. But as long as we're stuck below the 50 on the 5-minute time frame, I would have a hard time holding longs past London VWAP. So I'm thinking that we could actually go back to London VWAP and collect in this area. But with that said, we would have to actually close and continue holding above the 50 EMA to be able to do that. And right now we're just sandwiching ourselves. Potential BART pattern on the 5 minute. Yeah. Look at how tight all the EMAs are on the 1 minute right now. You have your 5, 13, 50, and 800, and then the 200's really not far above it. Kind of think I want to take a little long scalp here. I'm gonna wait and see. This is gonna be a tight stop because I'm really not interested in letting it draw down further. Because basically, if we can't hold this 200 EMA on the 15 second, then I'm not really interested in this trade anymore. So we're risking like 50 bucks or something like that. $50, $60. Moving break even here. We have an imbalance to 978. There, it just took back this red vector on the 15 second. Yeah, that's good enough. I'm gonna close that out. So that was like $250. But Leo, if you're still here, notice, what did we do? We made a W. That's pretty much all I do. I'm looking for support like this off of the EMAs on the 15-second time frame. So I'm looking with imbalances. So I want to see a red vector pushing down to a major EMA. You know, like here's the 200. The 50, I try not to trade the 50 as much. It's just kind of noise. we're really just ranging. I'm gonna go ahead and close out the stream. This is, I mean, we caught a nice trade earlier. I don't want to be trading this during New York Open, especially on an evaluation. So I think what I'm gonna do, I don't see anything totally clear. Yeah, this is rather rangy. It could go either way. So anyway, have a good, safe trading day. Anybody who wants information about trading prop firms, let me make sure. There is a link to the Discord. It's totally free. I don't charge anything. It is in here. I'll paste it. There's a link to the Discord in the chat. And my Instagram, which I try to also have some breakdowns on there. But yeah, y'all have a good one. Stay safe. Be careful in New York. Could get pumpy. We're looking ideally, we're kind of sandwiched in between imbalances, top side and bottom side. And I'm going to stay out of it until they take one side or the other. Have a good day.